So turtles. Turtles are very cool. And I actually someone just told me last lab, I think, was it you who was telling me about the claws in these guys? Yeah. Which I had not known. You can sex turtles by the presence of long claws in the males and shorter claws in the females. So this is female. Okay. These guys are both male. Yeah. So thanks so much for that one. So we can see if we look in the neck region here, this structure running along, what's that? Trachea, yep. And then right next to it here?
Esophagus.
Esophagus, okay. So trachea and esophagus, and you can always tell trachea by the rings, the cartilage rings. Okay. And the lungs of turtles are very far dorsal and kind of hard to see. I think they might be easier to see in one of these other turtles. Oh yeah, here you can see better. Kind of a funny little turtle, but this is the lung right in here. You can see the bronchus coming out to the lung. Okay, all in here. You like the noise? So that's the lung right there. Okay. And you can see. Let's not worry about that for now. Okay. So that's trachea, lungs. Then we have the esophagus. And the esophagus, of course, leads down into what?
Stomach.
Stomach. Okay. And we'll do that on her, if I can find it. Actually, I'm going to stick with him because he's just got a little more flexibility going on. So there's esophagus coming down, and then here, if I flip up the liver, you can see stomach right there. Okay. Stomach. And we can feel a lung for that nice spot right there. There's the pylorus, there's the bile duct coming down. So this is duodenum. And notice running right along the duodenum there, this tissue. Here's duodenum. Notice this tissue running along right there. That would be pancreas. Okay. So,
did they use all the same dyes for each animal?
are they color coded the same in everybody? Yes.
So is
in
it
general.
just expressed differently in each animal?
Because he's so
The way it
pink.
dies?
Yeah, because he's much
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of variation in how well they get injected, who's doing it, etc. So
But most structures usually have the same look to them.
they should. I hope so. So we end up then in the small intestine, and that just wraps around for quite a long while, and eventually ends up in the large intestine on its way out. And turtles always seem to me very mammalian-like in their internal organs, which I don't really know what the significance of that is, but they just remind me more of mammals than like snakes or birds or even lizards do. Okay. One of these guys did have a spleen. Aha, there we go. That would be spleen, just a little nodule sitting there, far from everything, not very exciting, but that would be it. Okay. And then we get down into the pelvic region, and we have the kidneys and sex organs to deal with. And this is the male, and this guy's pretty cool. This is his penis here. Turtles are not like snakes and lizards. They don't have hemipenes. They have basically a penis that's made out of erectile tissue, cavernous tissue that fills with blood, similar to what mammals have. So this is it here. And basically what's been opened up here is the cloaca. So this is the cloaca, and the penis is this fold of erectile tissue on the ventral wall of the cloaca.
Is that supposed to be primitive to reptiles and then, or to other?
It's argued about. There's actually not really a good story about the evolution of reproductive organs, intermittent organs, yeah. But I think that makes sense to think that. Okay. If we get this rearranged properly. So there goes the large intestine. Here's the penis and the ventral wall of cloaca. This thing here is a big sac coming into the cloaca. Any guesses?
Testing bladder.
Urinary bladder?
Bladder. Yeah, this is the bladder, the urinary bladder, right here. And then on either side, we've got these little round objects. Any guesses?
Kidneys?
Not kidneys.
Testes?
Testes. Yeah, these are the testes. These little roundish or oval kind of tan-colored structures. And then this dark structure that lies along the testis is the epididymis, which is basically the tubules that are carrying sperm out of the testis. So that's the epididymis there. And then deep to that, and lying under that, here, is kidney. So all of this and here is the kidney. And that. See that? Ah. See that kidney?
It's like licorice.
Right there is kidney.
Like along the bottom or what you're touching with?
What I'm touching.
Okay.
I'm just lifting it up so you can see better. So right there is kidney. Okay. Do you guys all see that?
Yeah.
Okay. And so the kidneys are located very far dorsal, kind of caudal and dorsal in the body cavity. Okay. Now, I think that's it for this guy that we can see. Yeah. Let's look at the female then, for comparison. And as you might suspect, in a female, there are ovaries full of eggs. And there's also fluid, which makes it harder to see. The water broke. I can actually. Interesting. So there's the ovaries full of eggs. Yeah. So something that's really hard to see, but I'll try to show you, is that on either side we have oviducts. She had some big eggs in the oviducts that were removed. And you can see the oviduct here coming in towards the cloaca. If I can get the bladder to stay out of the way here. Right here, that's oviduct. See what I'm touching? Right there. And there's, oops, I just poked a hole in the oviduct. Next to the oviduct is a flap of tissue right here. You see this thing? And that's paired, one on each side. And this is what's called the accessory urinary bladder, or cloacal bursa. And somebody had asked me about this on Monday, and I was looking about its function, and I don't know. I'd read that it was involved in wetting the nest in females, like when they're laying their eggs, and apparently that's true. But I looked it up, and apparently nobody knows what it does. But there's a lot of ideas. One is that they can respire using it. They can take water up through their cloaca into these cloacal bursae and get oxygen out of it. One is that they're using it as for osmoregulation. So we don't really know what it does, but it's this little sac that sticks out to the side. And that's in males and females. But it shows better in this female.
Do tortoises look basically the same?
I feel like they have a really large
Are like
bladder.
all the same parts and everything?
Generally, yes, but I've never dissected a tortoise, so I can't really. It'd be cool to.
I would assume they would have a really large urinary bladder because they store all that water. Or unless they use those folds of your
Yeah. Oh, and one nice thing, just to go back to one other thing. So you use, I'm sorry, I've got two thoughts going on.
Oh, I was just
If
saying.
they're storing.
Because a lot of tortoises just store water for the drier months, and if you scare them, they release all that water. So I
Right.
imagine they have a really large urinary
What if they
bladders.
have cactus in those?
What's that?
Is that a cactus, right? Is that, I wonder.
Oh, the desert tortoises, yeah.
Just wondering.
So they've
Like special.
special cactus.
Cactus glands.
I don't know how they managed to do that. This is small intestine, large intestine. Notice this little bump there, that's the cecum. So these guys have got a little cecum, just like kind of like a cat does. Very similar. Okay. One thing we didn't look at in the turtles yet is the oral cavity. And one of these
What do
guys.
these turtles eat?
Fish.
Fish.
Yeah, all
Fish.
of those.
Insects, people.
They also have a little bit of a vegetarian diet.
Yeah.
all of them. But most of their diet's a lot of protein when they're younger.
Okay, so this is the oral cavity of the turtle, and you can see the choani there. Cherry, really?
It's like
This little guy. And then ventrally here, there's the tongue, and right behind the tongue is the glottis in the laryngeal prominence. That swelling around the glottis is called the laryngeal prominence.
he looks how I look right now, pretty tired. It's like,
Yeah, it's kind of undignified. Okay.
and does it go trachea? Does that go dorsal to ventral or ventral to dorsal?
What do you mean?
Because you know how you're talking about.
Oh, it's the same. It's in everybody.
Oh, it's the same in
Yeah,
everyone.
that's a general thing. Because basically the lungs